You have to create your dream life while living a good life. For me, a life worth living is a life I like right now and that I'm working for something even greater later. But it cannot only be great later if it's shit right now. Because later might never happen. So I don't want to live in shit all my life in hopes that something good would happen someday. I want to have fun right now while understanding that I want to have even more fun in the future. And I think that's where most people get it wrong. They're either too much in the future or too much in the present. And I'd say a good example of too much in the future is you retiring at 65. You know you're going to retire at 65 and have a lot of money and a lot of time in your hands to like go travel the world and shit. If you do that and then you're in a job you don't like just for the money the entire time, well then you've wasted all those years, all your best years of your best health. You've wasted them all for a day that might never come because you might die before you're 65. And then all you've known is shit work and really no satisfaction because you didn't like your life before and you were always hoping for something better, but yet you never achieved it because you died before. Or you didn't die before and then you got to 65, you went on your trip and then you hurt your back and then from then on you lived the 20 other years, but you couldn't walk 10 meters without like hurting your back, and so you didn't do anything with your life in the end. Like you have all this money, all this time, but you don't have the health to do anything. On the other hand, some people will just say, okay, fuck it, I'm not gonna go to like school, don't to like get a good job or anything, fuck a job, I'll just do what's the funnest thing possible right now. So I'll just go like skiing in the West and then work as little as I can, work some odd jobs that I don't really like, but I don't care because I'm working the less possible and then just having fun, having the most fun I can. And where I think this falls short is you're having a fun time right now, but then there comes a point where, because it could be fun right now, but if you're not achieving anything, if you're not working towards something that drives you, if you're one day you're gonna get bored of it and then you'll say, okay, so now what? And now what's the difficult part? Now what? I'm 30 years old. I have no skills. So if I stop doing like being a ski bum, what do I do? Am I just like the job I'm gonna get is not gonna be a fun job, so it's gonna suck because I'm not. And then do I really want to go to school again? It's a tough one. I think it's better. It's better to do, in my opinion, it's better this way, that like you just have the most fun you can right now and then later on you'll try to figure something else out. I think it's better this than the opposite of just working your entire life in hopes of maybe someday having fun. But I still think it's not the right choice because what will happen is then you'll get bored of it and then you want to like maybe start a family or something, and then to do that you'll have to work a job that you don't actually like because you don't have the skills to work the cool jobs. You just work the jobs that people don't want to work and you work this for your entire life. Then you're never able to like have enough money to do cool things, so you're always stuck doing the same thing and then you get stuck in a routine, and by the time you're 65, if you get there, well, you don't even have the money to retire. So you're not retiring at 65, you're retiring like never, or like at 75, or you're retiring, okay, I'll retire at 65 but with nothing. And so what do you do once you're retired? Well, you don't do anything. so it's not better, right? Well, I think that's what I think for me. And so what's the best thing to do then? And for me, what the solution to that is right now doing something that's fun, but that gets me closer to my goal of having even more fun. And for me, fun really equals freedom. So I could just replace fun by freedom. So I'm trading a little bit of freedom right now. Like I'm not as free as someone that's just skiing in the West, but I'm freer and I'm not as free. I'm trading a little bit of fun because I'm having less fun than him right now. But what I've done is I found something that I think can be fun for a long time. That can be fun for a long time. That can be rewarding, hence why it's going to be fun for a long time. And that can get me closer and closer to my goal of financial freedom as soon as possible. And not as soon as possible, but financial freedom. I'm not trying to, that's a good part. It's not financial freedom as soon as possible. It's as soon as possible while still enjoying life because it might never get there. So I need to make sure that my life is fun right now and that I love my life, because I'm not gonna set up my life to be miserable right now and in the hopes of someday being happy. So I'm having fun right now, but it's working towards something that will give me even more fun, even more freedom. And that's where I fall into entrepreneurship, because for me, a lot of my fun is actually me having the freedom to do what I choose to do. And with entrepreneurship, well, I have the freedom to build, to work on anything I desire, with the caveat that I need to someday make money from it, or else I'll have to get a job and it won't work out. So it's not exactly freedom, because I'm still not financially free, but I have enough of a leeway to say, let's try something that will give me soon to have the money, that will generate the money for me soon enough, so I have a little period where I can afford to not make money, but have the freedom to do what I please, and knowing that, okay, if for the 6 months I go skiing, well then what happens is 6 months later, I have zero money, I have zero ways of making money, and then I just gotta get a job. Or I say, okay, well, I'll ski a little, of course, and like when it makes sense to do so, so like when I'm tired from work or this or that, or when it's really a cool trip with friends, but then the rest of the time, what I'll do is I'll work on my startup in the hopes that this startup in 6 months will make me enough money to be able to continue working on my startups and on my ideas for the foreseeable future. So the goal is always having fun, right? It's always taking into account that I need to have fun right now to have a beautiful life. But you gotta target that fun towards something that's bringing you closer to your end goal, without the goal being the only thing, the only fun you'll ever have in your life. And then the hopes is that, you make this product, you sell it, and then you get so much money that one day you're financially free. And what that means for me is that when I'll be financially free, it'll mean that I'll be able to create any product I want, and really anything I want, because I won't need to sell it to anyone. I won't need to make any money from it. And that's where you're truly, truly free. And for me, that's where I'm trying to get. But before that, I think that something like that's a step under is making something that's really cool that you want to make, but actually making money from it. So like knowing, okay, this is cool, but I don't say I'm gonna monetize this, so maybe not for now, maybe I'll do this later. Oh, but this is cool too, and lots of people would be willing to pay. Okay, let's build that. You see, it's a difference, but it's still free. Like, it's a little less free, but it's still, you could say, good enough. I think it's a good balance of having fun, but yet working towards something. So that's where I think entrepreneurship really shines, and that's what I'm trying to achieve right now. I would suggest you guys to do it too, because right now, if you're just out of school, is the best time to try and be an entrepreneur, in my opinion. It's where you have the least responsibilities and where you need the less money. Some people would argue, okay, but just wait, do a few years in company, and then you could do that, and then you then come back to your entrepreneurship. And to this, I say good luck. I say, of course, if you're in Silicon Valley and you're gonna be making 300K a year, maybe do it. And I think it'd be worth it, because you get all the connections, all the people you're gonna meet. But you better make sure that you know what you want, that in 3 years you want to go back to zero revenue, because you don't want your life to increase, and then once you're there 3 years later, you don't even want to stop, because you don't want to stop going to these fancy dinners, having these fancy cars. And you have to know, and it's difficult for people to do that. You have to know that you're willing to go back a step in life, and that's something that's tough. It's really tough going back on anything. Like a car, it's really tough going from a good car to a bad car. You don't really want to do it. Same thing for a house, same thing for an apartment. It's tough going back. And so that's one part. So if in 3 years you have to go back to your life and a step back in lifestyle, will you really do it? Most won't. And then in 3 years, are you gonna have other responsibilities? Are you gonna start having kids? Because if you're having kids in 3 years, then it's not gonna be the time to to drop everything and try something else, because there's a high probability that it won't work. And when you have a child to feed, well, I'm not in this situation yet, but I believe that when you have a child to feed, you won't be willing to take as many risks. And I don't think it's a good idea to take as many risks with it. So right out of school is a really good time to start your startup and try to create your dream life. While you have to create your dream life while living a good life. And that's where a lot of people would differ from me, and they say, fuck a good life, just get to the dream life faster. But for me, it doesn't work that way, because the dream life is not guaranteed. And with things that are not guaranteed, you should not risk too much of your life right now that it is guaranteed to suck for something that is not guaranteed to be fun. So make sure that, because the present is guaranteed. What's happening right now, right at this moment, is guaranteed. It cannot be changed right now. So if this sucks right now, it's guaranteed. I made it that way. I made it that it's guaranteed to suck. For what? For something that might never even happen. Or maybe one day I'll have 10 million to my name, and then I'll do anything. And then I'll do whatever I want. But for right now, I just gotta hustle harder and just have a bad life in hopes that this comes a little bit faster. So I don't do that. I don't think it's a good idea. I think that it's a much better approach to guarantee that you have a good life right now while working towards the dream life. The good life and the dream life. Have the good life, work towards the dream life. But don't forget that the only guarantee is your life right now. So make it count. Make it have fun. Have hobbies, have love in your life, have like creativity, have things you want to do, have ambitions right now, because you don't know what happens in the future. Lots of things can happen, and it's not a guarantee. I'm not saying you're gonna die, but I'm saying, well, you could, but you could also just have lots of things happen in your life that sort of get you trapped in a space you don't really want to be, and then you never achieve your dream life. So make sure to have the most fun when you can while still working towards the dream.